अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणाय निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. So yesterday we started seeing Jagat. Jagat is the easier one because that is where our attention is. We are paying attention even to we are paying attention only to Jagat. Jiva also we don't know anything. When we have to find out something about ourselves, we go and ask a psychiatrist about our own self. And he asks some other psychiatrist about him. Isn't it? People don't figure out about their own self. So our mind being extrovert, paranchi khani vyatrat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyatin antaratma. The Upanishad said his mind is extrovert and he's only seeing outside, never turns inside. So we have become adepts at studying this phenomena, and sometimes it goes way beyond, because we have come to think that we can really figure out this phenomena, which we can't. We can't figure out this phenomena. In science now, they realize that if you are doing any analysis on something to find out what exactly it is, that the observer affects the observed. Now science has come to that realization that you cannot have an objective observation. The observer affects that thing. So first of all, everything outside is changing. Second, if you try to observe it, the observer affects that observed. Then how you will figure it out? If it is changing and if you are affecting what is observed, how you will ever figure out that? That is why we cannot figure out anything properly in this Jagat. We may make approximations and we may make little rules about life and all of that, but they hold most of the time. They don't hold forever or all the time, you see. Second thing in this Jagat, still continuing this Jagat, right? We cannot connect this cause to this effect. That also is done in approximation. Like for example, I am 5'4". You will be 5'5" or 5'10", whatever, right? Or whatever your height. What was the cause of that? And in Purva Janma, whatever we have done countless things there. Out of those countless things which we have done, which ones contributed to this height? You could never, there is no way in Jagat for anybody to connect any particular cause to a particular effect. And one of the reasons, of course, is quite obvious. There are many causes that would lead to an effect. It's not one cause. If you ask them, what was the cause of this harmonium? You can't. The material cause, of course, is wood, but that is only part of the cause. Then, in somebody's mind, this form was there, so he transferred it to the wood. Whatever was there in his mind, he transferred to the wood. But what was the cause for that thing to come in his mind? And why he? And over here there has to be a demand, otherwise why will make? Supplier will not make anything unless there is a. So is it demand the cause, or the supplier the cause, or what is the cause exactly? And from where did that thought come in his mind? How in his mind there was a harmonium, but not in my mind. So who put it in his mind? How it came? Really, to specifically say this was the cause for this to happen, that is, it is called apaurusham. It's beyond human capability. We cannot say it. And the complexity of this Jagat and Prakriti, which is controlling the Jagat, that complexity is way beyond human being. So what we do is approximations. And this caused this. And we continue with our life. Therefore, it is useless to waste time. Say, oh, for example, now there is a trend. Let us say some new trend. Always some new trend is coming. Huh? In this country, people wear distressed jeans. You know, there's parts of the jeans missing in different places. Huh? So let us say that is a trend. Okay, how you will conclude what caused that trend? Maybe we saw other people doing it and we started doing it. Maybe one person saw it and thought it was cool. Cool because it gives air. And they started doing it. Or maybe the suppliers of the jeans, they send the price up and people have this feeling. We don't know. People have feeling if it is expensive, that means it must be cool. Or it must be, you know, because many people feel like that. If it is expensive, that means it is good. Something. But what? Why people do and what this trend? And the same thing with life's choices and what people do with their lives and all that. We could never ever figure out these things. We just leave them alone. All you have to say, this is how it is, or this is what happened. And then from there you move on. You're trying to figure out what caused and all that. That's a big waste of time actually. And just beyond human capacity. So this Jagat is like that. Last point about this Jagat today, therefore, is this Jagat is unfigureoutable. There's no word like that. But unfigureoutable means you cannot, for sure, yeah, for sure you can't say what caused what in this Jagat. That is beyond our capacity. You know, connected to that last point is one other sub point about Jagat. Because we are saying it is, we cannot figure out anything about this Jagat. That also leads to the point that everything in Jagat is connected. Let us just see one little thing, right? We have this. So this is made of plastic, right? And of course there are many elements inside. Countless elements will be the inside, the wire and all the technology and all that. So if you really count how much of the Jagat went into making this, the entire Jagat went into making it. So the plastic is made by the petroleum companies. Petroleum, right? Petroleum is fossil fuel. Fossil fuel is under the ground. So fossil fuel, it comes from plants and animals and all of that. Things like that, right? Then there are little bacteria that have to break them down. So all of them went into, and this is called billions and billions of years. They broke down all of those plants, and the plants became plants because they use air, water, sunlight. So the whole Jagat, the air, water, sunlight went into making plants, and the little bacteria and all, they broke down the plants, and that stayed there. And then now human beings came, and human beings took out that oil from under the ground, petroleum and whatever. And this human being, for him to take it out, he himself has to have body, mind, intellect. And his body is made from, again, plants. And what thing is connected to what thing? Everything is connected to every other thing. There's one more rule about this Jagat. And since everything is connected to everything, you cannot tell what is the cause of anything. Those 2 points are connected. You see? So, this is called as Jagat. Whatever the observable, phenomenal universe. If you have to sum up Jagat, it will be observable, phenomenal, empirical universe, which we see in front of us. And these are the rules which we have studied so far about this Jagat. Changing, all connected, unfigure-outable, all of those things, which we of course saw yesterday, made up of 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth in combination, and all that you have studied. Now, our next Jagat, there is Jiva, because universe is observed. Who is the observer? Observer, see, this thing doesn't observe this thing. These two belong to Jagat, isn't it? One thing doesn't observe this harmonium, doesn't observe this microphone. There is somebody who is observing this whole Jagat. There's somebody inside who is observing. And then that somebody is different in everybody. When you observe, you see what you see. When I observe, I see what I see. See that when I see a jeep, I see something else. When you see a jeep, you see something else. Because I love jeeps. You see? So everybody see the world with their own goggles, isn't it? So that one who is seeing the world in his own goggles, that person is called a Jiva. Jiva. Now we have to study this Jiva a little bit. You have to try to avoid all the English words because they don't convey exact meanings. And it means the one who dwells in this body and who goes from body to body, he is called as Jiva. English word they say soul and all. And if you ask what is soul, every person will have his own, the warmth in my soul. So their soul, some soul means something else. I don't know what it will mean. But try to avoid that. It's a simple thing. Jiva is the one who dwells in this body, who goes from body to body. Some people say, what do you mean goes from body to body? You're talking about reincarnation? We say yes. Then he said, I don't believe in reincarnation. Some people say like that. One fellow went to Mahatma and said, Mahatma ji, I don't believe in reincarnation. Then Mahatma ji said, no problem. In your next life you will believe. Meaning to say, you know what is in his statement? Huh? See one more thing. This is just a sub point. Your belief has no bearing on reality. What is the meaning of that? You know, in the time of Christopher Columbus, everybody used to believe that the earth is flat. He said that the earth is spherical. Right? You know, all people in Europe used to believe this earth is flat. If you sail there, you will fall over. So, if everybody believes believe that the earth is flat, does that make the earth flat? No. Reality has nothing to do with democracy. Democracy majority, na? Majority believe that it is flat. That doesn't make it flat. So belief has no bearing on reality. That first thing you have to understand. You may believe whatever you want, but what is will be as it is. So now, the scriptures in many places speak about reincarnation. So it is this one who is dwelling inside of this body, he drops this body and goes to another body, another body there, and another body, and he goes from place to place. That is called a reincarnation. That one who is moving, he is called a Jiva. So Jiva is not this body. Jiva is one who dwells inside that body. And the reincarnation theory, the idea is a very, very intellectually compelling idea. You cannot, nobody could reject, discard reincarnation without leaving many fundamental questions unanswered or without entering into many illogical things. I will just give you an example. I have a friend who is a pastor. He comes sometimes and we talk and all. So we talk in a friendly way, like brothers, like that. And I will also ridicule him. He'll ridicule me also. So I said to him, listen, he's a big educated man and he's an engineer first, and he did not like engineering. He worked for one company as an engineer first, a petroleum company. Then he got fed up with that and he went back to med school and became a doctor. So this is not any ordinary person. But see, I said, man, in Trini language, I said, you people believe in all sorts of crazy things, man. He said, what do you mean we believe? I asked, who creates souls? Because in their religion they create their souls. So who creates souls? He said, God. Who else? I said, okay, take it. At one time, God will create two souls. Let us just say, hypothetically, God will create two souls. And we just heard, like in Buckingham Palace, some baby was born just now. So he creates two souls and he sends one soul in Buckingham Palace. They'll become prince and kings and whatever. And at the same time, he creates another soul and he sends in the dump, because there are people living in the dump. So there they will be festered with flies and diseases and all the hardship and all the other things. And here they'll be pampered and yeah. So then I asked, on what basis did God decide to send this soul here and to send that soul there? On what basis? Is it an arbitrary decision? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, shut your mouth and go. He said, no. Now see, when you are faced with these type of questions, you have to come up with some answer. He said, it is the parents who made that choice over there to live in the dump, and so they are responsible for that soul there. And his parents here. I said, oh, now you are abrogating that, you are transferring that responsibility of one soul suffering to another person. In other words, the parents did the crime and the child does the time. In other words, I asked him, you subscribe to one person doing a karma and the other one facing the consequences of that karma? He said yes. Now you have started entering into illogicality, isn't it? Because there is no jurisdiction on this earth, and there has never been any jurisdiction where the father does a crime and the son goes to jail. Any jurisdiction will subscribe to such a jurisprudence? No. The one who does the crime, he has to go to jail. Otherwise, why you have a criminal system? It is for the rehabilitation of the criminal. But he very openly told, no, it is the fault of the parents. Because you can't find any other logical answer. You will now have to accept reincarnation. He couldn't find. So when I asked, so you mean to say you subscribe to the view that one person will do a pap, a sin, a bad karma, and the other person will pay for that thing? He said, yes, that is my belief. When I am talking rational and logical thing, and you invoke a belief, well, our discussion is finished. Because I am talking a rational thing and you are talking belief. So he believes it. And I told just now, belief has no bearing on reality. You may believe whatever you want, but what is. And those who are capable of seeing beyond, have given testimony to this idea of reincarnation. And then this is logically, intellectually compelling idea, because there are many things which you will not be able to explain if you don't accept that thing. Alright, now that one who migrates from body to body, that one is called a Jiva. So now we have to understand exactly what that Jiva is. Now please see this. I'll have to give you a very important model. Now then only we'll be able to continue this. What is this model now? I'll tell you. This model is divided into Jada and Chetan. Jada and Chetan means the inert and the conscious. Right? So this thing is inert. This body is inert. But there is a conscious being which is aware of the body, which is aware of this. That conscious being is called as Chetan. So you know in the world, there are some things which are Jada and some things which are Chetan. Right? That Chetan, or sometimes called as Chaitanya, that is called as consciousness. Right? Now, you put that consciousness here. And I'm going to use some technical Sanskrit terminologies now, but you have to remember the Sanskrit terminologies because it is very difficult to find them in English. Shuddha Chaitanya, pure Chaitanya, is called as Brahma. Brahma means Brahman, the absolute reality. Shuddha Chaitanya, Brahma. That Shuddha Chaitanya, when it is conditioned, is called Upahita Chaitanya. Upahita Chaitanya is Sakshi. They call it Sakshi. Witness. And when it takes one step further and becomes Vishishta Chaitanya, that time it is called a Jiva. So here Jiva is way down last. Don't worry, I will explain all of these terminologies for you. You have to take it, go slowly now. We have enough time also, don't worry. So we go over this again. Huh? This Chaitanya goes through, is in 3 states. Here is Shuddha Chaitanya, here is Upahita Chaitanya, and here is Vishishta Chaitanya. Yesterday I told you, if water is in solid, liquid or gas, it is still H2O. That does not change. It remains as H2O. So this Chaitanya or consciousness, if it is Shuddha, if it is Upahita, or if it is Vishishta, it is still the same Chaitanya. When it is Shuddha Chaitanya, it is called Brahma. When it is Upahita Chaitanya, it is called as Sakshi. And when it is Vishishta Chaitanya, it is called as Jiva. See, just like water. When it is solid, it is called ice. When it is liquid, it is called water. And when it is gas, it is called steam. You see? But H2O still remains. H2O doesn't change. So here is Shuddha Chaitanya called Brahma. There is Upahita Chaitanya called Sakshi. And Vishishta Chaitanya is called as Jiva. But it's still the same Chaitanya. But now what is this Shuddha? What is this Upahita? And what is this Vishishta? Now study an example and then we'll come back to this. Huh? Study this example. So I keep a clay pot here. Right? In a nice Indian fat belly pot. Indian pots are very beautiful. They make nicely now. Inside that pot, there will be space. Correct? 1 cubic foot of space, let us say. Now, the space in the pot is connected to this space, and this space is connected to infinite space, right? Infinite space means what? There is no end to that space. So now let us say it's here, space is here. I take clay and I make this pot. What I have actually done, I have just encircled this space by putting a pot there, isn't it? I have not created space. I have just encircled space which was existing prior to making the pot. And I enclosed that space. So let's just see one step, intermediary step there. I take the pot and I move it here. The space which was encircled here, the space remains there, isn't it? So as I move the pot, I am encircling different space. Because space is constant, it stays wherever it is, it doesn't move. Space doesn't move, it is there. So I am encircling different space as I move the pot in different places. Space being all pervasive. Here, there, and everywhere. When I make that pot, I just encircle a certain amount of space. That encircling of that space is called as Upahita space. Space which has become encircled, space which has become conditioned, space which has become associated with the pot. But see something, that space which is associated with that pot, which is encircled by that pot, which is conditioned by that pot, that space still remains and always remains part and parcel of the infinite space. Correct or not? It doesn't change its nature or anything. It remains part and parcel of that infinite space all the time. No pot, it is infinite space. I bring the pot there, I encircle a part of that infinite space. But I do not do anything to the quality of space. That space is still the same space. I cannot do anything to space, really. No. When it is conditioned by the pot, when it is encircled by the pot, when it is associated with the pot, now I give it another name. Now it is called pot space. 1 cubic foot of pot space. But if you give it a name, Have you done anything to it? No. It is still the same infinite space, isn't it? It's still inextricably connected to the infinite space. You really don't do anything to it. By you giving it a name, you don't change its quality or anything. So, in such a state, that space is called as upahita space, conditioned space, associated space. Now, suppose the space inside of there starts thinking, my name is pot space. Start thinking, I am 1 cubic foot of space, and I am special pot space because in me they keep the most favorite thing in the house, achar, pickle. So I am a special pot space. In other words, the space inside of there forgets his infinite connection and now becomes identified with the walls of the pot, the size of the pot, the name of that pot space, and his importance, and he gets caught up with all his finite association and finite ties and all things associated with him in a finite way. He forgets his infinite connection. That time he has become the Vishishta space. Vishishta means, in English you'll have to say, specified. Become specified. Or you become, the technical English word really we use, identified. Identified. He forgets his real identity and takes up another identity. His real identity space is infinite and he's connected to infinite space. But now he forgets that and he gets identified with the pot, he gets identified with his size, he gets identified with his name, he gets identified with his purpose, all of that for achar. Purpose to keep achar. That is called Vishishta space. So you have infinite space, you have associated space which is called Upahita space, and now you have Vishishta space which is called identified space. Now see, you take this example and we go back now. We have Shuddha Chaitanya, infinite Chaitanya. Then you have Chaitanya associated with this body, mind and intellect. But if it is associated with that space which is associated with the pot, doesn't get disconnected from the rest of the space. It is just a mere association. So the Chaitanya which is associated with this body, mind and intellect doesn't get disconnected from infinite Chaitanya. It just gets associated. But then at the third step, another very dangerous step takes place. The third step is that Chaitanya gets identified with this body, mind and intellect. That Chaitanya now becomes Vishishta Chaitanya. That Vishishta Chaitanya means identified. I am this body, mind, intellect. When it starts thinking like that, it becomes Vishishta Chaitanya. At that time, that Vishishta Chaitanya, the second name for that is called Jiva. What happens in the formation of a Jiva, an individual Jiva, is this thing. No, not a technical word now. That thing is called as Anyonya Adhyas. Anyonya Adhyas. Anyonya Adhyas means what? It is infinite Chaitanya becoming associated with this body and then becoming identified with this body. Body means body, mind, intellect, BMI. Then becoming identified. The two of them mutually exchange gunas. Because body, mind, intellect is finite. Shuddha Chaitanya is infinite, right? body, mind, intellect is Jara. Shuddha Chaitanya is Chetan. So when the two come together now, they exchange gunas. What gunas? This body, mind, intellect, which is Jara, now become Chetan. Because when you touch it, it is smooth. It's smooth now. So I become aware of smoothness, even with the body. The body gets awareness now. So it becomes Chetan. I'm aware this is smooth. I'm aware this one is wrong. You see? So the body which is Jara, and the Jara thing cannot perceive anything. It now becomes Chetan. Body becomes Chetan at the same time. The Shuddha Chaitanya, which is infinite, now becomes finite. So Shuddha Chaitanya takes on the finitude of body, mind, intellect, and body, mind, intellect, which is Jara, takes on the Chaitanya of Shuddha Chaitanya. See, they are exchanging their gunas. The example Bhagavan Shankaracharya gives in his Bhashya everywhere is fireball. You take an iron ball and you put it in fire, it becomes red hot. No. Naturally, iron ball is cold. Now it feels hot. Fire doesn't have any form, but now fire becomes round. So they exchange guna. The ball becomes hot, takes the guna of fire. And the fire becomes round, takes the guna of ball. Because fire is no way, have you seen round fire? Fire is not round. When it becomes red hot, it becomes round. So they exchange gunas like that. Huh? So here now, this body, mind, intellect is Jara. It becomes Chetan when that mixture takes place and Nirtyasam. And this body, mind, intellect, which is finite, gives the finitude to the infinite consciousness. And that in this way, both of them exchange gunas. That exchange, a mix-up of gunas, is sometimes you'll hear another technical word. So I'm telling you the technical word for that mix-up is called Anyonya Adhyas. Sometimes you hear another word that is called Hridaya Granthi. Have you heard that word? A Granthi means a knot. The knot which is formed by two contrary things. Because one Jara, one Chetan. They are two contrary things. When the two get mixed up, it is very difficult to extract it. Like how it is difficult to untie a knot because you don't know which is which. One Mahatma was passing one day and he found some pilgrims. They had gone to some pilgrimage in Himalaya and the place was cold. And overnight, they all 5-6 of them, they bundled up like this, all of them. And they were sleeping under a tree. In cold night. And he was passing early morning. Then they woke up. But they were so entangled, all of them, that they did not know which arm belongs to who, or which leg belongs to who, because they all in a bundle. That Mahatma said, take no problem. Just now you'll find out. Pull out a pin. The fellow who's great doesn't your leg. It's easy to find out whose leg is that. You just have to. Anyway, so sometimes when things are tangled, it's very difficult to. So here, really, it is the entangling of Chetan and Jara and Chetan. And so they have exchanged gunas. Now, what is born? I mean, the product of that mix-up, the product of Jara and Chetan together is called as Jiva. Jiva is neither the body, mind, intellect, nor Jiva is Shuddha Chaitanya. Is neither of those. The mixture and the product of these two coming together, that is called as Jiva. You got it? So all this I just have to go through this to not to come to Jiva. And inside of this, I have just selected certain words, leaving out all of this. So many technical words in all of this, right? But if you just remember this model now, so there is Shuddha Chaitanya. Shuddha Chaitanya associated with body, mind, intellect is called as Upahita Chaitanya. And now identified with body, mind, and intellect is called as Vishishta Chaitanya. That Vishishta Chaitanya is called as Jiva. Which identified means now both of them have exchanged their gunas. He's become Shuddha Chaitanya, which is infinite, has become finite. And the body, mind, intellect is Jara, has become Chaitanya, or conscious. You see? So that product is called as Jiva. And now that Jiva, he has Antakarana. Antakarana is the inner instrument which is inside of this body, inner instrument, and then there is this body. The body part of that Jiva is separable. You can drop that body, and the Antakarana in a medium of Shuddha Chaitanya can move like a fish moving in water. The Antakarana now goes from this body to another body here, another body there. He keeps transmigrating. We call it transmigration. Transmigration means a reincarnation from place to place. Now, this Shuddha Chaitanya, please remember, if it is associated with body, mind, intellect, if it is identified with body, mind, intellect, which is Shuddha Chaitanya, here is called Brahma, associated with Upahita Chaitanya, and here identified Vishishta Chaitanya. It doesn't matter what he goes through, which one of these stages he is in and what he goes through. Please remember, like the water, which remains H2O in any state that it goes through, the same Shuddha Chaitanya remains Shuddha Chaitanya in any state which it goes through. Its association or its identification here. See, here it is unassociated, here associated, here identified. No matter what happens, its nature remains the same. It doesn't change. And just for a simple example, I will tell you. Look here. Suppose you start thinking yourself to be a mouse. Does that make you a mouse? Suddenly you get 4 legs and a tail or what? No. You may think yourself to be whatever you want. Because people do that. In movies and all, dramas, people play some other role, you know. You know, in Trinidad there's a Ram Leela. Now Diwali is coming up. Every village there will be Ram Leela going on in that Maidan. So you go there and you stand there. You see the funniest things also. They are very good at that. Nicely it comes out. So that director will be there and he'll tell, okay, now you go on stage, you do this, you do that and all that. He'll direct. So Rama comes out and he shoots Bali. Now Bali is supposed to die. Bali stands there. He doesn't die. So the director should die. Bali will not die. He stands. The director gets angry, you know. Because we rehearse all week. You went through this motion already so many times. And when Rama shoots you, you're supposed to die. At least fall down. He stands. Then that director gets angry like anything. But he was whispering, die, you know, die. No, what is the matter with you? He shouted at him. You're supposed to die. This Bali gets angry also. I am not die. Only I die. Let's not be that. They're practicing this, he died for a whole week. Well, I'm fair with that. No, let him die. No, see, if you have taken up that role, when it's time to die, you have to That you can't just hold on there, please. You can't just say, no, I'm fed up dying, let's believe that. The story like that. You can't change the story. But anyway, human beings are known to take up various roles. And if he dies, he's not really dying. It's just something that he's taken up. A king will take up the role of a beggar. A beggar will take up the role of a king. But that doesn't change them. The assuming of a role, assuming of an identity, because he identifies himself on stage as a king. Assuming of an identity or assuming a role really does not change the fundamental personality, isn't it? So here, like the assuming of a nama rupa of ice, liquid, or steam does not change the fundamental substance, which is H2O. So Shuddha Chaitanya being associated with body, mind, intellect and becoming identified with body, mind, intellect does not in any way change the fundamental nature of Shuddha Chaitanya. This has to be remembered. So, in the evolution from Shuddha Chaitanya, which is Brahma, to Upahita Chaitanya, which is Sakshi, to Vishishta Chaitanya, which is Jiva, in that evolution, nothing happens to Shuddha Chaitanya. It remains Shuddha. It has just become identified, taken on a role, and taken on a nama and rupa and all of that thing, but it still remains exactly as it is. Now, I want you to see one more added dimension to this whole thing. Shuddha Chaitanya, pure Chaitanya, infinite Chaitanya, when it becomes associated with Sakshi, when it becomes identified with Jiva, right? From that Shuddha Chaitanya, yesterday I told you, in the Taittiriya Upanishad is described very nicely. Shuddha Chaitanya, Ekasmat Akasha Sambhutaha. From that Shuddha Chaitanya, by its own power of Maya, comes space. From space, Akasha, Vayu, Vayu, Agni, like this. It evolves like this, right? So, from Shuddha Chaitanya, by its own power of Maya, comes space, air, fire, water, earth. This space, air, fire, water, earth, they undergo Panchikarana, splitting and recombination and all that. And it is through this splitting and recombination, Panchikarana, now they form body, mind, intellect, and the same Shuddha Chaitanya is reflected in that same body, mind, and intellect. It means associated first and then identify with that same body, mind, intellect. So what you have, Shuddha Chaitanya evolving as space, air, fire, water, earth to form the body, mind, and intellect, and you have the same Shuddha Chaitanya associated with that body, mind, and intellect, and then identified with that body, mind, and intellect, and become Jiva. So what you have is a duet of one. Because it is same one Shuddha Chaitanya which has become the, what we call now, this is technical term called Upati. It evolved as space, air, fire, water, earth, and has become body, mind, and intellect. That's called Upati. And the same Shuddha Chaitanya associated with that Upati and identified with that Upati is now, has become Jiva. So that is Shuddha Chaitanya Brahma. Shuddha Chaitanya actually is Brahma. Brahma is playing a game with Brahma. You have a duet of one. Therefore, ekam advitiyam nana asti kinchana. There is no two, there is no three, there is only one. So, Brahma evolving this way through Maya and 5 elements and forming body, mind, intellect, which is called Upati. And the same Shuddha Chaitanya now associated with that Upati and then identified with that Upati is now called as Jiva. Now, this is all the technical language associated with the formation of a Jiva. And there you kind of ask questions as to why. You can't ask why. Because for something which has started at a particular time, you can ask why. Right? It was not there, then it was brought into being, so then you ask why it was brought into being. But for something which has always been like that, there is no question of why. Like for example, you cannot ask why is water wet? Why is water wet? Well, water is always, if it is not wet, it is not water. If it is not wet, there has to be something else. Why is sugar sweet? If it is not sweet, it is not sugar. It's Swarup is like that, you see. So it is the nature of Shuddha Chaitanya Brahma. It is the nature of Shuddha Chaitanya Brahma to be manifested as Upadhi and to be reflected in that Upadhi at one and the same time. And it has always been like that. You see? He did not, one day, we say, well, he catch a vamp or something. He suddenly had a whim of fancy, let me start manifesting as Upadhi and reflecting as Upadhi. He did not start doing this. You please pay attention to this. In Hinduism, there is no such thing as creation. If ever you ask why God did this, you're a Christian. You're asking a Christian question. It shows the extent to which the people like Max Muller and all the scholars who came from Germany and came from Europe came into India and overhauled the entire Indian education system. That now you ask a Christian question. In the Christian theology, God was there one time, alone. You know that thing, right? He was there alone and then there was nothing. And something happened. Maybe he became lonely or something. Nobody knows why. He became lonely and he said, I'm so alone. Let me make some, yes, some Jiva, some other beings. I have some company and I can play baseball. There is no rationality, no rationale at all for if he was alone, why he wanted to be many and all that kind of thing. And in fact, I will end with this point here today and we'll continue this tomorrow. We have time, don't worry. Creation is a logical impossibility. Creation is logically impossible. I'll show you how. That is why Rishi rejected this millennia ago. See here. If this thing did not exist, let us say this did not exist, right? And we have to create it. That has to be created at a particular point in time or not. So there has to be a time when it was not there, and there has to be a time when it is created. Correct? So you have to have the pre-existence of time for creation to take place. Because an act of creation can only happen in time. It must happen at a point in time. So you have to have the pre-existence of time. So you say, prior to this time, it was not there. At this time, it was created. And thereafter, it continued to exist. Right? So you almost have a past, a present when it is created, and a future when it continues to exist. So we ask, oh, if God created the world, that means to say time had to be pre-existing. But time is part of the world. Time is part of the world. So for creation to take place, you have to have the pre-existence of time. Then you ask, oh, so who created time then? We say God. Then we ask, at what time? Because for creation to take place, time must be existing. logically, creation is not possible. The logical impossibility actually, because it requires time. So you can't say that he created time first. Even if you say first, you're invoking time. So the rishis rejected this long ago. There's no such thing as creation. The reality is eternal. It is anadi, ananta. It has always been there. And inherent in that reality are infinite possibilities. And what you see in front of you is one of the existing possibilities. That is all. What we experience in front of us is one of the existing possibilities, and it has always been like that. And this is just one of the infinite number of possibilities. So how many Brahmandas are there? How many universes? How many? Infinite number. You still have not started to really figure out what is the meaning of infinite when we say infinite in Vedanta. That concept is mind-blowing. When we say infinite, we mean infinite, and that goes infinite in every regard, in every respect, in every dimension, in every direction. Infinite. You talk about Jivas, infinite. You talk about Brahmandas, Ananta Koti, Brahmanda. You talk about time, infinite in the past, infinite in future. Everything about karmas, infinite. How many karmas you have in your Sanchita karma? Infinite. But what are you going to figure out about this universe? You just leave it alone and sit and realize I am right now Chaitanya, which is identified with this body, mind, and intellect. Really, I am Shuddha Chaitanya. That is all. I'm now taking myself to be body, mind, and intellect. Really, the one who is taking himself to be transmigrating, and he is finite being, and he is miserable, and not this Jiva. And really, my nature is pure Shuddha Chaitanya. This is what Jiva is. In truth and in fact, Shuddha Chaitanya, just identified with body, mind, and intellect. His true nature is Shuddha Chaitanya. This piece you have to remember, that identification does not do anything to Shuddha Chaitanya. If the sun is reflected in a bucket of water, the sun does not thereby become wet. You see a sun in that bucket, and it is there in the midst of the water, and there is the coming together of two contrary things, which is the heat of the sun, fire and water. Two contrary things come together in there. But that coming together of two contrary things does not make the sun wet, nor does it make the water into fire. They come together, but that coming together is a very mysterious coming together, isn't it? So this Shuddha Chaitanya and this Uparti coming together, two contrary things. And I told you two contrary things have one source. There's a duet of? Yes, one source. Okay. Now, see how much you have to reflect on. This is the greatest science. If it is the greatest science, it cannot come easy, isn't it? So a person who gets a PhD in this country, does it guarantee anything in his life? If you get a PhD, does it guarantee you'll be happy? Does it guarantee you will be healthy? Does it guarantee that you will have a good family life? Does it guarantee a job? Guarantee riches, money, peace of mind, good relations, sweetness of personality. Will a PhD guarantee what? And for that PhD, it guarantees nothing. You still have to work so hard, isn't it? So what to talk about is highest gain in the universe. How much we'll have to work. But a sadhak has to apply his intellect. This has to be studied again. So now we'll pick it up from here tomorrow. So we studied Jagat, and we have now seen how Jiva comes. But but still we have to see more things about Jiva. We'll see tomorrow. It's not done yet, don't worry. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.